mystery and horror, the air itself is filled with monsters.
Children of the night, what music they make. He's alive! He's alive!
Well, hello, all you monster fiends, and thank you for joining us for another deep dive, factoid-filled episode exploring Hollywood's most famous monsters. I am your mistress of ceremony, Sam, and I'm joined, as always, by Dan from Bleed and Marvelous. Say hello, Dan.
Baby Jane Doe.
Baby Jane Doe!
Not the same that we're doing. That's not her.
That's one of my things I was going to mention.
Baby Jane Doe.
Doe!
She's taken the formula. It's all good. Baby Jane Doe. Okay?
Oh my God. Hi, everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Monsters of North podcast. I'm back, baby!
Guess who's back?
Back again.
Scary Movie 6. That's what's back again. Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. Oh, how I come back at a good time. Yes, I'm back. I'm back for good. Hi, everyone. Big, massive thank you to everyone who had reached out while I was gone. And also, big, massive thank you to Dan and Chris for fucking carrying this shit
The
over the last month.
visual tit will be with us forever. In spirit or in silence.
Yeah.
I see you. Smiling. He's here.
Hey.
He's always watching.
He's always there. Well, we're back. And we're going to do the episode we said we were going to do a month ago before I left. Whatever happened to Baby JJ?
Baby Jane Doe. Whatever
Baby
happened.
Jane Doe. If I can remember it, I'm going to do the disclaimer. And then we can crack on open this week's episode. So, everything discussed in today's episode is our opinions, and it's our opinions alone. And if you'd like to discuss anything from today's episode, please come and join us on our socials. Or you can come join us in the comment section where we can have an open discussion. But what we won't have is anyone coming for us and telling us our opinions are wrong, because we can all agree to disagree in horror. So let's keep it fun. We keep it kind and keep the toxic behavior out of a nerdism.
I want one of those little bouncing balls. Don't be a dick.
Like the more you know. Don't be a dick.
Yes. And
Yeah,
all sing along at the same time, everybody.
Don't be a dick.
It would
was
be too
Chris's-
much to have a little dick bouncing across the top to tell you what word. No,
Be so good. Chris, get on it.
I am staying well out of that one.
Right. Whatever Happened to Baby Jane is the 1962 psychological horror thriller film directed and produced by Robert Eldridge and starring Betty Davis and Joan Crawford and featuring Victor Bunu in his major film debut. The screenplay is adapted by Lucas Heller's novel of the same name by Henry Farrell. It follows an aging former child star tormented by her paralytic sister, also a former film star, in a dilapidated. Wow, could not say that. Dilapidated Hollywood mansion. Sister, sister, oh so fair, why is there blood all over in your hair? Monsters Up North brings you Whatever Happened to Baby Jane.
Ratatouille, anyone? Canary?
Wow.
Hungry?
You
No.
haven't ate your din-dins.
I have to say, right now, I will give this for a 1962 movie, 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Yes.
Holy crap, that is a long film for that time.
Massively. But also, I have enjoyed every second of it.
I honestly can't believe how well, and I will say this because films of this time, right? Let's go back to when things weren't PC. We're talking the 60s. They're
Yeah.
not well known for their nice language or their
Yeah.
just PC as a
Yeah.
whole.
Yeah.
They treated the wheelchair situation. They didn't even call. There was no name calling, no nothing.
Mm-mm.
The insanity of Betty Davis and how she was clearly going through psychosis or BPD or narcissistic or whatever she was diagnosed as, that wasn't dealt with in a really kind of like over the
It
top
didn't,
way.
and it didn't belittle her either.
No. And then you had the whole thing with the with Elvira, which there was a story to do with the lady that played her, who they'd written her as a yes'em, no'some, color purple type
No,
character.
okay.
And she turned around and she went, "Do you know what? This is 1962. Stick it up your ass. I'm not doing it." And she rewrote her entire lines. And that was
Amazing.
with the full support of Betty Davis, because Betty Davis was like, "No, we're not doing that here."
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
she
I
was
can
such a
imagine.
forward thinking woman, as we'll get into later on down the line, but she was so forward thinking. She was like, "No, if she doesn't want to do it, she doesn't do it. Simple as that." And
Yeah.
so they rewrote all of her lines, and she came across when they had her come in, she came across as a very empathetic and like just a friendly character, and it was
It was
very different for the time that
well,
someone
yeah, and not for her, for what her place would have deemed to be at the time.
yeah. And
Yeah.
it was just really, I think this film, for its undertone and subject matter, was handled exceptionally well for 1962.
Yeah.
Exceptionally well.
Especially when there was so much going on in the background of this movie, which we'll get into with
Mhm.
regards to the two leading stars. Um, the mental health that she that Jane exhibited was narcissistic personality disorder, delusions of grandeur because of her continuously fame, hunger for attention, lack of empathy, and envious of others, manipulation, exploitation of Blanche. But, 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 would she have been all of that if Blanche didn't do what she did?
I
Did
think I
did
think
Blanche's actions send her into the way she was?
I think she would have had a mental break regardless, because at the point of when the accident happens, which is pretty much around the opening, um, we find out that the sister, who was the quiet one at the very beginning, because we're shown like baby Jane Hudson being this Shirley Temple style star,
My
doing all
God,
the tap
that
dancing and
kid.
everybody gooing all over. Oh my God, she had a 50-year-old woman's singing voice. I was like, what the hell's going on there? That was peculiar.
Message to daddy.
And then she brought out like that creepy motherfucking Annabelle doll.
Oh
And I was
my God. What the shit was that?
I'm out, thank you. And did you know that was a real promotional item they offered?
Shut. Oh,
When the film was coming out, the studio created many, many of those dolls and made them as a genuine promotional item, and they hid them under people's chairs and all sorts in the cinema.
they can fucking keep them.
Yeah, it was not for me. Uh,
No.
but
No.
yeah, so you then find out that there's the quiet sister and then there's the big sister, and the big famous sister is obviously Betty Davis, and the quiet sister is Joan Crawford. Anyway, the roles reverse. The quiet sister ends up becoming a huge movie star,
Yeah.
and her picture deal was always, if she got a picture, then her sister must have had a picture as well. She signed it with the studio to say she'd sign on as long as her sister gets one movie for every movie she does, regardless of whether baby Jane Hudson, was any good or not. She was drowning baby
Yeah.
Jane,
Yeah.
but Blanche was doing really, really well. So the studio was having these problems where they were forced to have to keep watching these terrible movies and put them out just to keep Blanche
Oh, Jane.
happy and contractual. And so it came to a point of where I think at that point Jane would have had an idea
Yeah.
that she was not doing very well and things weren't great. So I think had the accident not have happened, she would have had a break at some point, because I think she was just predisposed to it because she was so used to the fame. And then when she's
Yeah.
not got it anymore, regardless of how that came, be it at that point or 10 years later on when everybody forgets who she was, the mental break was going to come in one way or another, because the fame bubble is a fickle thing.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think the cruelty would have came into it, and especially the last line, which breaks my fucking heart every time I hear it, where she says, "Oh, we could have been friends after
Mhm.
all." Oh my god. Um, yeah. The the I was explaining to Chris earlier. The movie at the beginning is very almost janky, as
Mhm.
in you can tell budget wise. Did they have a lot, or not tell, but you're asking the question, did they have a lot of money with this budget? But then all of a sudden, when you're in the house, the cinematography completely changes and
Yeah.
it feels like a completely different film.
If you actually look at it, the budget itself was only 1 million in those days, which is about 9 million ish by today's standards, but $1 million. Now, that wasn't a big budget, but it was fairly big. They were taking a bet on what
Aging.
two aging stars, and there was a telegram going around as well that was like, oh, we've got these two old broads in our um
I
in our
read
movie, and
that.
I can't be bothered to do it. And it was one of the producers or something to another producer, and it got intercepted. And anyway, Joan saw it and Betty saw it.
Yeah.
And both of them sent the original producer that wrote it a letter saying something along the lines of less of the old, or I'm not a broad, I'm a woman. It was like really like snapped back at. But yeah, basically they were taking a big chance. Robert Aldrich hadn't done much. The book was only turned into this movie because of Betty Davis.
Yeah.
Um, because originally she wanted Alfred Hitchcock to do it, which I think would have made this a completely different film.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was too busy doing The Birds and
Good.
Psycho and trying to befriend, if we're going to call it that, Tippi Hedren,
Yeah.
or should we say stalk?
Watch our episode.
Oh yeah, go back and watch that one. But yeah, so he said no, I'm not interested. So they then went to Robert Aldrich because they thought, oh well, he'll be able to. He's got the same vision that we have. So if it wasn't for Betty Davis knowing the author of this book, and then wanting to help him turn it into a screenplay to then get it made as a movie,
Yeah.
we wouldn't have it. But
We wouldn't.
yeah, so they weren't giving a lot of money to it. They were literally going, right, okay, here's 1 million. That's a lot, but it's not too much. So if you're going to
No.
spaff this up the wall, it's going to be.
But the ladies did the smartest thing possible. We've talked about this before, where Bela Lugosi did not do this and lost out on a lot of money. They took a percentage of the takings.
Yeah.
So this is where I've been done. I haven't really watched because I know more than enough on the feud that took place between these two that I started asking myself the question, how fabricated is this in order to, because this movie does really, really well. Like really well. But it really is off the back of the fact that people know these ladies hate each other.
A
So
lot.
how much is it played up to?
I think if you see an interview with Betty after Joan dies and see how she stands up in her own way for Joan,
Mhm.
especially when Mummy Dearest come out, she was having none of it.
Oh,
Literally, Betty was having none of it. She was like, no, that's
it
her
was.
daughter's lying through her teeth. And then when Betty dies, what did Betty do? Oh,
Oh,
one of
I
her
thought
daughters
did exactly the same thing.
pretty much the same thing. So it
Did
was.
exactly the same thing. Oh my god, Mummy Dearest is one of the greatest, campiest movies you'll ever see in your days.
All I kept thinking of was Alyssa Edwards. No wire coat hangers. It's
It's
just
well, if you so Alyssa did that so well. I was because Michaela, my sister's never seen it, and I was like, "You've got to see it because
yeah.
it's like it's iconic." Um, the fact that Faye Dunaway thought this was going to make her like make her star rise again was beyond me. But it's everything that Alyssa says is in like you literally. It's these brilliant moments in the movie. It was like Christina,
It's the
don't
look.
fuck with me, fellas.
It's the look where she does the.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just yeah.
It was Mummy Dearest was so what it was, um, Christina Crawford, who was the adopted daughter of Joan Crawford. She had 4 children in total, 4 adopted children: Christina, Christopher, and 2 twins. Now the twins were kept in the will. Christopher and Christina were not.
Mm.
And when Mummy died, Christina decided to go get that coin by writing Mummy Dearest. I have read, watched, seen, listened to so many things about Joan Crawford. And I watched an interview where she was on like the Donahue show, like their talk shows, Christina Crawford. Oh my God, did every housewife just go for that woman, calling her all the like everything Betty Davis said, these women were saying to her face.
It
It
was
was so
because it was
fun.
so publicly played out. I mean, it happened to all time very well with the when this film come out. But I do know that Betty knew how to work for her money. Not just
Yeah.
as in for her acting. She understood that it wasn't just about showing up on set, doing your job and going home. It was about what came after, the
Hmm.
PR. She was a master at doing the rounds, so to speak. Because from when I was looking into this, Betty Davis went out of her way to do like 17, 18, 19 cinema like tour when this was released. So she'd go and she'd sit and do, like you get Q&As at
Yeah.
premieres. She would go and do that just for normal audiences. And she did like loads of theatres around the area. Um, because she knew if she was there, it would put bums on seats and put money in her pocket. So she knew if it made them more money, it made her more money. She understood the system. Whereas
Hmm.
Joan wasn't as au fait with everything that came after. She didn't want to do it, or she wasn't confident enough, or she didn't understand it. You never really find out why
No.
Joan didn't really.
Betty just
um
knew I think Betty knew the industry and she knew it
yeah.
incredibly well. She played it better than men did. Like she knew what she was doing.
But yeah, I mean, she sued Warner Brothers in the 30s.
Hmm.
She was absolutely having none of being given all these ramshackle, missy little prissy parts. She was like, "No, give me something I want to do." And they were like, "Well, you don't really get to say anything. Firstly, you're a woman, and secondly, no." And she was like, "Well, I'll sue you then." And she made it a very public suit, to the point of where even though she lost the suit, Warner Brothers were like, "She's not going to drop this because she
No.
hasn't stopped talking about it. So we now have to do something to keep her stum, or at
Yeah.
least take her down, like to get her to stop talking about it." So they started giving her these really what they thought were shit roles in films. And she then ended up getting like Oscar wins for them. And they were like, "Oh, actually, maybe she was
She
right. She was on something."
she
So,
was nominated for this as well. She All About Eve, probably one of my favorite Betty Davis films ever. Hold on to your seats, boys. You can't do Betty Davis's voice because I don't smoke 100 cigarettes a day. Like that voice is unreal. And this is what I was when you said the Baby Jane Doe bit. When all I could hear, when she loses her mind,
mm.
when Blanche pushes her too far and she starts to get really really cross. It sounds exactly like her, Baby Jane Doe. This
Catherine,
ain't Philly.
Catherine, is it Nanisa? I'm sorry, I forgot. I haven't got her name
Oh
down.
my god, I love that woman so
Yeah.
much.
If you haven't watched The Pit, go watch it. HBO Max is a streaming service in the UK now. There's no reason for you not to go
No,
buy it and watch The
go
Pit.
watch it. I say it to everybody, go watch it. I've watched it a million times. It still doesn't it's still so good. Yeah, that's what her voice reminded us of that. But yeah, this rivalry feud started in 1930.
Was that? No, that wasn't that.
It was over French Court Tone. Don't know
Yes.
if I'm saying that right.
I watched a couple of videos about the feud. Now, a lot of them were excerpts from that piece of shit. Sorry, Ryan Murphy. Sorry. Yeah, Ryan Murphy
Blech.
feud piece of
Shit.
TV that he did. Now, I love Angela and Jessica and Susan Sarandon and all the cast members that
Yeah.
he chose to cast, right? And Jessica did an amazing job, and Susan did
Susan
an
Sarandon is
amazing job.
amazing.
But it took me a second to see who was cast as who. because the excerpt that I saw was the one where in real life they were filming this,
Mm-hmm.
and I think Betty left Joan at a beach on her own, and Joan had to find her own way back from the beach. And when Joan went and confronted Betty as to why she did it, Betty was like, "It's going to make you a better actress. You know, I think it will make you a better actress." And Joan was like, "What say do you have in whether I'm a better actress or not?" You know, I think they both approached acting in totally different ways, though, because I feel like Betty was probably more of a method
100%.
actress.
Oh my gosh, 100%. Because the face that you can so lovingly see in front of you right now, if you're watching on YouTube, if not, go and Google it. Do not Google the colored one though, because like the actual picture in color, because oh my God, it's horrifying. But that face is all Betty.
Mhm.
She had to do it herself because she said that no makeup artist in Hollywood would ever put her together the way that she had it in her mind how Baby Jane Hudson would look.
And also, she said they would never want to take credit for it either.
Nope. Nope, 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 nope. Yeah, so
Never
the
washed her face either. This is a rumor. The rumor is that she just consistently reapplied the
is
makeup day
I
after
get it. I
day.
get it because I think that's what Jane would have done.
But
I
this is
think
because her daughter was cast as the Anna Lee, who was the neighbor next door. Her daughter, when you see
oh
in
yes.
the movie with Blanche on it,
Yes.
the daughter in the house is actually Bet's daughter, and Betty saw her. Her daughter saw Betty dressed as Jane and was like, "Mum, you've gone too far. What the hell is this?"
She looked amazing. She looked honestly, it's breathtaking to watch her when she's on screen because you cannot like, and you physically can't take your eyes off her because of the makeup, but also the acting ability of that woman and
Mm,
how she chops and changes how she presents herself,
mm,
especially when she's around Blanche, because she can go from being mean to kind to back to mean again. Flip floppies is all over the place. But the feud with them two, 1930, it's over a man, Fran Cotton, who Crawford ended up marrying,
yeah.
and Betty didn't like her for that.
No.
And they also competed over roles at Warner Brothers. And then this movie in 1962, Davis allegedly kicked Crawford in a scene. So the scene where she ends up kicking seven shades of shit out of her, she genuinely did. And the scene where she's dragging her across the floor, which absolutely had me in stitches. Because apparently Joan Crawford put rocks in her pocket to make
Yeah.
herself weigh her down. And
Yeah.
it put
Oh,
Betty's back out.
yeah. And Betty had problems with the back ever after that. But
Yeah,
well, that's the rumor mill anyway. But
yeah. And then
the
there's the Oscars.
yeah, I mean, I I find I actually found out what this type of movie is classed as, right? I didn't think there was a name for this genre. I thought it would be like psychological
Political
thriller.
horror, yeah.
Yeah, no. It has been coined with some of the most hideous terminology for a movie, but I fucking love it.
Gone.
They are known as a subgenre called hag horror,
Oh,
psycho biddy,
oh,
or hagsploitation. And when I
right.
read
If we ever change our name, we're going with hag horror.
I read that and I was just like, okay, all right. They are hideous, but I fucking love them. I don't know.
I absolutely love them names.
Hag
Hag horror.
horror, psycho biddy, or hagsploitation. So
Oh, okay. That should be our new nicknames now. Psycho Biddy and Hag Horror.
yeah, I'll take it.
Ah,
Way worse, but I'll take it.
yeah. Oh, that's amazing. Um, yeah, and then there's the Oscars in 1963, which in yeah. Um,
Joan was dirty. I'm gonna say
jo-
dirty
Joan's
stuff.
not Joan's not a Joan's not Jo- Joan has a tendency for doing weird shit at the Oscars.
This was some dirty, underhanded nonsense though, because she knew Betty Davis, this would have been her third Oscar win for
Yeah,
Best Actress, which was unknown. She would have been Guinness World Record
yeah.
holding
It would have
person.
been monumental.
Yeah. And Joan didn't want that to happen because she didn't want Betty to get any bigger because Betty would got more roles at Warner Brothers, and at this point,
Yeah.
Joan's career was kind of on it was on the trajectory with the
This
movie, but it was
was,
peaking and it was
but this
coming
is
down the
it.
other side.
This is the last big film she does. The next one she does is Trog,
And
which is a
that's
horror.
80
Yeah,
something?
in the 70s she died.
70.
She
Right.
dies not long after it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the last thing she does.
It's sad that she felt like she had to go to this level of petty.
It's fucking honestly though, I wish we still had shit like this happening now. Imagine.
I mean, from what
Imagine.
I can gather, Joan called around all of the Oscar nominees for Best Actress category and said, if you can't go for if you can't make it and you win, I'll accept your award on your behalf. And the only one that came back to her was Anne Bancroft because Anne Bancroft was doing stage shows in New York
Yeah.
at the time and couldn't get over to LA because of the scheduling. She just couldn't do it. So she said, all right, if I win, you go up and you accept the award for me. And she thought she was, and apparently Anne Bancroft had no idea that it was some sort of ploy.
Elaborate scheme.
Yeah. So obviously Anne actually won, and um, the way I didn't see whether they did a shot of Betty's face, but you see Joan march out with her head high to the sky, accept the award, stand there and give a little speech, and then walk off. And it was just the way it was just. It was
It,
such a fuck you to Betty. It was such a fuck
massive.
you, and I was
It's
just like,
fucking hilarious though.
oh.
Yeah, I'm not. If the feud is real, I'm definitely on Betty Davis's side. But I love the fact that she did like that's the level of pettiness she was willing to go to just to get back at her. Because I really feel like with Betty Davis, once this movie was over, Joan Crawford wasn't even in her eye line anymore.
No, because the pair of them worked for separate studios when they were first coming up. Betty was kind of established by the time Joan was getting to become a name.
Yeah,
And it Joan started in chorus in the background, and Betty got kind of launched pretty quickly from stage straight into screen. So
yeah.
there was none of that working for it mentality that Joan thought she had, because she started off as chorus and worked her way up. Now Joan herself was her real name, which I found kind of strange, is she had a very deep South French sounding name. And I've written it down here somewhere, but I've lost it. It's something like Lucille Lesleur or something like that.
Oh,
And that was her original name. And they didn't like it because they said
for
it was
God's
too much
sake.
of a mouth. Yeah, Lucille Fay Lesleur.
Oh
And they
my
said
God.
it was too much of a mouthful. People wouldn't like it, kind of sounded a bit exotic, and they weren't in the market for exotic in the 20s when she was coming up. So they ran a competition, and I found the flyer online for the competition of name a star. So people would win $500 if they wrote if they won the name. And so this is where somebody won with the name Joan, but the second name wasn't they couldn't use the second name that the person had chosen because it was already in existence. So they
Right.
went down a notch, split the prize money between one and two, used Joan from the first winner and Crawford from the backup until they made Joan Crawford, and that became her new name. But she fucking hated it because she said it sounded like crawfish, and she'd worked so hard from getting away from her southern roots. She didn't want to be associated with like that sort.
Ah.
So she was very ungrateful back in the day. And then you look at Betty, and Betty, her name is it's Ruth Elizabeth Davis.
Oh.
And they called her Betty with a Y all of her life because of obviously Elizabeth. But then
Yeah.
her mate said, "Oh, do you know what? It'd be better if you did it with an E. It sounds a bit French, a bit exotic." And then that stuck. But that was another part of the resentment with Joan because Betty was allowed to have an E on the end and it sounded exotic, but she wasn't allowed to use her own surname of Lesueur. So it was
Wow.
this kind of
Lucer's a good name though.
with Joan as well. So yeah, I mean, they tried to rename Betty when she first got into the movies, which I found was hilarious. The name they tried to give her for their version of Equity over there, Bettina Dawes.
Oh, I like that.
Bettina Dawes.
Bettina.
And she said, "Not on your Nelly. Get in the bin." No. And they were like, "But we think it would sell better." And she was
Well,
like,
then you fucking take it.
it's pretty much what she said. Yeah, she was like, "No, I'm Betty Davis. That's the best you're getting. So
Yeah.
swing it."
Have you ever watched any Betty Davis interviews like later
Yeah.
on in life
I
where
watched
she
quite
just
a few.
where she couldn't give shit?
No.
Couldn't give shit. I love it. She's just sitting on. This is the time of talk shows where your stars were allowed to smoke on set, and she's
Yeah.
just sitting there with a cigarette. And oh my god, that woman is just fucking glamorous as anything. Have you seen her grave though?
I haven't, no.
Spectacular.
I know
It,
that
she's got
another
she's got. I say grave. It's a crypt. She's
I
got
was
a
gonna
crypt.
say it would be something ostentatious, wouldn't it? Let's be
It's
honest. She
it's
didn't go in
actually
silence, did she?
it's no, she did not. It's a family plot. It's a big crypt. It's in Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Los Angeles, and
Mhm.
she's got a statue on the top of it as well. But it's a big, massive family plot.
There is there's this whole thing with the root of what apparently the feud is between the two of them was that MGM was Joan
Yeah.
and Warner Brothers was Betty. Now their paths never crossed. They never needed to. Joan was the face, Betty was the actress. That was the way it was. That's how they sold the movies.
Hmm.
And then when MGM went, "Oh, she's not really selling any movies. She's hit 30. Her prime has gone. The old spinster needs to move on to pastures
Jesus.
new." They sold her to MGM. They sold her from MGM, sorry, to Warner Brothers. And so then Betty was faced with now being in the same age group category, up for the same roles as Joan Crawford. And she was always like, "Well, Joan looks this way, but I act this way." And they were constantly putting them up for the same roles, which then created a natural rivalry between the two of them because they were consistently fighting for parts. So then what happens is Betty pulls out a movie where she looks absolutely stunning as an aging old movie star within the film. It's like Life
Hmm.
Imitating Art. And she looked, I can't for the life of me remember the name of the movie, but there's this scene where she's coming down the stairs. She's got this perfectly coiffed hair. She's got this off the shoulder number on, dark. She just looked absolutely stunning. And she comes down the
It's
stairs
all
and
about Eve.
that's, yep, there you go. That's the one. And they turned around and they were like, "Well, actually, she's also got the beauty and she's also got the acting
It's
chops."
the
So,
that scene right there is probably the most famous line of Betty Davis's. Hold on to your hats, boys. Here in for a bumpy ride.
but it's that's the bit that opened their eyes to
Probably just
that
butchered that.
yeah, that Betty could do pretty. And that
Yeah.
was what she was known for. She was known for doing opium den chic, and she looked there was a still they kept showing from a movie, and I can't remember what it was called, but she looked like Courtney Love. And
Oh yeah, when she was out because she used to have blonde hair, didn't she?
And she got really annoyed because they kept making her bleach her hair. So she snuck off, dyed it, didn't tell anyone, come back. No one noticed for a year. And then they said to her, "What happened to your bleach blonde hair?" And she's like, "I haven't had bleach blonde hair for over a year." And they were like, "Well, that's not, your contract says." She said, "Don't care. You're not known for a year. So as far as I'm concerned, it's null and void." And like she just
Ah,
so
bleh, fuck
it.
off.
Yeah, she didn't care.
Massive fuck off. Well, Betty didn't she actually got inspiration for her character of Baby Jane. I'm gonna stop myself because I
Don't
was gonna
say
say
don't.
Baby Jane Doe.
Thank you.
Um of Baby Jane Hudson. It's believed that she based it off former silent movie star Mary Mill fucking hell, it's a mouthful. Mary Miles Minter.
Yes.
Now, Minter's career ended abruptly in 1922, which is honestly for a silent actress, you've got to do something in order to lose your contract because you're not a great deal like you do. And when press coverage suggested she was the prime suspect in a still unsolved murder of director William Desmond Taylor.
Yes.
Now, William Desmond Taylor is one of Hollywood's big who done it.
Yeah. I've seen
Um,
I've seen the case of that, but I never put this and that together before.
Yeah, she was part of that. It was a huge, 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 huge scandal. Um, and he was found inside of his apartment in Los Angeles, um, of a well, he was declared that he died of a stomach hemorrhage, but there was a gun involved.
Bit like the was it, oh god, the George, the Superman mystery.
Oh my god, yeah. So George
Reeve.
Reeves, yeah, George
Doors
Reeves.
were locked, but
Doors
there
were
was no
locked
gun,
on
but
the
the gunshot
outs. Yeah, the doors were locked on the on his
inside.
side,
Yeah.
but he died of a gunshot wound that isn't self-inflicted.
And there was no gun in the room. So
And there's
yeah,
no gun in the room.
yeah.
So yeah, George is. If you ever want to watch a really good movie, a biopic of George's life, watch the one with Ben Affleck.
Mm.
It's so good. Affleck actually plays Superman. Um, but yeah, William Desmond Taylor is one of those ones where you can just go down rabbit hole after rabbit hole. I've done it myself many a times. Because it's just he was he apparently died of a hemorrhage, but there was a gunshot wound. But Hollywood at the time, I mean, honestly, scandals, like you could live or die off a scandal.
Yeah.
A scandal could really bring you up to the heights of like mega stardom, or it could really put you on the bottom.
Yeah. I mean, the thing with this movie is it's 1962, and you do forget that because it's shot in black and white. And I know Betty said to them, "Do not shoot this in color. It does not need to be in color. You keep it in black and white. Color will make it too romantic, and it needs to be jarring.
And nobody needs to see this face in
Exactly.
color.
It needs to be stark. This gives off more of a horrifying
Yeah.
aura, for want of a better word."
And it does. The honestly, the cinematography in it and the atmosphere, especially when you're in the house,
Yeah.
the isolation of Blanche in the house, you really do feel it when you're in when you because of how great and stunning it actually looks.
Yeah. I mean,
Um, yeah,
I was going to say the only thing for me, like in this whole story, I understand the next door neighbor because it shows that Blanche is trying to get help. So there's somebody that lives near, so you get established with that as being a character. Elvira's a great character,
yeah,
being a good supportive like nurse slash friend slash employee to Blanche to help
oh,
her with everything,
yeah.
and they never treat her as less than. They, well, Blanche doesn't, I, the only character I don't understand the point of is Edwin.
I
Edwin,
think, yeah. Oh, bless
I
him.
don't really know. Is he supposed to be like? Is Jane?
He's a con man.
I know, but it's like introducing him. You think he's going to be the one that uncovers the whole
Yeah, I
thing,
think
but
it.
he doesn't. He runs off.
Yeah, he's an alcoholic who can't handle his drink. That role was meant to go to Peter Lawford.
He was busy.
If busy being the brother-in-law of President John F. Kennedy, yeah.
Yeah.
So, go sorry, good.
No, I was going to say I know that there was something that he was worried it'd bring scandal or something.
Yeah, yeah. Any Lawford's career was to be honest, Lawford had a great life
Mm.
because he was the brother-in-law of a Kennedy. Or the Kennedys. He was married into the Kennedys. But his movie choices became he had to be careful in what he picked.
Mm.
And this level of horror, psychological, the list kind of goes on. Yeah, he had to kind of move away from it.
Yeah.
And that's when it goes to the other guy whose name I cannot remember. I think for me, when I was watching it, it kind of brought a kindness out in Jane that you'd not seen.
I think it was the soft side because I think because
Yes, a softer side, that's it.
if he played the piano, it reminded her. This is where I think
Of
the
Daddy.
psychosis. Oh, I think this is where the psychosis kind of it finds a new. It finds a new. If you
Yeah,
know what I mean, like she could revert back to then, and that was when she was at her happiest because she was
yeah.
famous and she had the
She was the
attention of her
center of attention.
dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is basically the ultimate pageant child.
Oh my
So
god. I want an ice cream. Fucking
go on. And, like, literally every mum's face that were queuing up to meet her at the end was, like, disgust
Oh,
of, like, how
it
do you
was
let your child talk like that? So
it's what our mother has to say to Blanche, where she's like, "One day this will be you. One day you'll have your moment, but I really hope you treat your father and sister more kinder than they've treated you." And I was like, "Oh, you should not have to be saying that to your child. You should not." But that child was absolutely the devil, like, and the devil.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, the Edwin part, honestly, I think it is just a case of showing that softer side of her, and the fact that she's never gonna leave the world of where she started. It's always going to. She was even like going through costumes of, well, I've got costumes that I've found that are very similar to what I wore, but obviously I'll have to update them, kind of thing. Like, she understood that times had moved on, but she
But she
wasn't willing to step away fully from it.
Yeah, but she went so far gone that she didn't know how to fake a signature and write false checks out in Blanche's name. And
Th-
she wasn't that far gone that she could, and I use the word imitate, Blanche's voice on the phone because we know that that was actually Joan's voice and
That's Joan's voice.
she was
That
looking
yeah,
at the But
that is Joan's voice when she's imitating Blanche on the phone. That is Joan's voice that's being used, which I thought was hilarious because I would have loved to hear how she would have done like Blanche's voice.
yeah, it was too gravelly and too low, apparently.
Well,
Um,
yeah, because she's a really heavy smoker.
but she had breast cancer, so work that one out. Not lung cancer like everybody thought she would. It was breast cancer that took her out in the end.
Oh my god. Um, the ending of the movie had me in fucking stitches. So the news reports coming out all across Los Angeles that the Fame sisters, one of them has abducted the other one, and they're on the run, and we need to be on the lookout for them. They are both in plain sight on a beach in front of hundreds of people when the radio station is saying, be on the lookout for these actresses because one of them's been abducted. Not one person confronts them, and they are sitting amongst people, loads and loads of people.
Yep.
But the ending, I had to go back and watch it a couple of times because it really gave me Sunset Boulevard vibes.
I'm ready for my close up, Mr. DeMille.
Yes.
All right.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
It
but it was the fact that when she started doing it, because she had it, obviously the audience was there and she started like performing.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, is it Sunset Boulevard or? And then I was like, where's Blanche? Because if you look closely, she's not on the beach.
Nope. No, I
Where's Blanche?
and then suddenly she's there when the police run over. And it's like,
Oh my God, I didn't even see that part.
mm,
I was like,
it's
was she there in the first place?
I did have a moment before when I was watching the end, I was like, did she even have a sister? Has she imagined the whole
Uh
thing?
huh.
You know, like you have that moment where you're like, is that going to be the twist? You know, because I wasn't expecting a twist. I was just expecting her to get caught because, in those oldie woldy movies, there always has to be the morality. There's a morality clause in them. So someone
Yeah.
has to be done for the crime. Someone has to be punished. It's just the way it works. You can't have a baddie and they can't go unpunished. It's just part of
Yeah.
story. Um, but the fact that technically Blanche had chosen to starve herself, if you analyze it. I mean, I wouldn't recommend eating cooked rat or
No,
your
but it
next
was
day.
really good. It was really good. What do you call it? Reverse psychology. Really good. I'm not saying to do it to anyone, but she definitely got her in because she was given out the rat, and but then she wasn't.
It was, oh, by the way, there's a rat. We've got a rat problem down in the basement, and then she just walks out flippantly. She pulls the thing up. There's a rat on a Sunday dinner, basically. She then freaks out, puts it back down, and then the next time Jane goes in, it's a T-bone steak. She
Yeah,
pulls out
and
from
she
under the
yeah,
thing.
and
Like,
she just starts munching away on it. This this I've seen this movie countless amount of times, but I haven't seen it in a long time until today, and I just forgot how much I absolutely adore it. But anytime someone brings it up, I've got two lines I always quote, and one of them is, "But you didn't eat your din-dins." And the second one is, "But you are in the chair. You are." Fucking love it. I
The
fucking
whole
love it. She's like, "You wouldn't be so cruel to me if I wasn't in this chair." And she's like, "But you are in the chair."
see, that's the thing about Baby Jane, right? Yes, she's cruel and vindictive, but I feel like her justification for blaming Blanche is the fact that she gave up her life, her career to look after her sister out of misplaced guilt, thinking that she'd
Yeah.
created this situation because she had a mental break after it happened, after the crash happened, went missing for 3 days. They find her, they bring her back, and then she's suddenly thrown into this, well, you did this,
So
even though it
you're
was
now responsible for this.
so she gave up everything to look after her sister. So then she has this thing where she gets into the mindset where Blanche owes her something now because she's given her life to Blanche,
Yeah.
even though the fact that Blanche had pretty much done everything.
I think there's a lot of remorse there when it comes to Jane as well, because you can't talk to her about the accident. She
Mm.
didn't like to talk about it. She wanted to block it out. So I think there was a little bit of remorse
I just
in the
wonder if
fact
she
of what she
actually
did.
knew. All along, I wonder if she actually knew because it was just the way she was so flippant when she finds out what actually happened. She's
It's
just so
but
flippant
it's
about.
but it's the real I honestly that moment where she says, "So we could have been friends the entire time. It didn't have to be like this."
Mm.
It breaks my heart. And then look how nice she is. "Do you want an ice cream? I'll go and get you an ice cream." And then she's like, "I'm going to get an ice cream for my sister." Like she's something like instantly in her changes because all is forgiven and we're going to be friends now.
I think it was also the fact that I think she'd had the mental break at that point. She'd killed Elvira. She'd smashed her on the head with a pipe or whatever
Hammer.
happened. Hammer. Um, and she disposed of her body. And next thing you know, there's a headline in the newspaper saying, "Maid of the Hudson
The,
sisters found dead in a ditch," or whatever it said.
yeah,
It's like, wow, that's
that was
really.
quick.
But I tell you what, Elvira did have her head screwed on, but I do feel like that was the final catalyst for Jane breaking when Jane realised that Blanche, uh, Edwin had seen her at her worst. She'd seen her dirty secret, which was her sister. And instead, she thought Edwin would grass them up. He's not. He's a coward. He ran away. So I think she panicked and thought, right, we've got to escape. Where's my happy place? And in her head, she remembered going to the beach and having ice cream once. And do
Yeah.
think she references it at some point when she's talking to Blanche about happier times. She's like, "Do you remember that time we went to the beach with father?" And I think there's a little bit of something like that
Yeah.
somewhere in the thing. So she went to the one place where she was happiest, and I think it just she had the psychotic break there, which then put her back into the frame of mind when she was like 8, 9, 10, however she was in her heyday. And that's where she stayed. Like her brain didn't get past being that age.
Yeah.
y-
Yeah.
and that's where she lived. Like that it was just the sheer way of the crowd coming around, and she thought it was for her. She thought it was because they wanted to see baby Jane Hudson, and you just see that this is a totally different baby Jane Hudson to the one that was walking into the bank and the one who was talking to people and going, "Oh, you might recognize me. I'm baby Jane Hudson." And they're like, who?" And you could just see the disappointment on her face or the anger for them not knowing who she was and stuff like
Well,
that.
Edward had
But
no idea who she was.
mm-mm.
He had no idea when she says, "Do you know who I am?" And he's like, I'll let you guess. And he's got, "I've got a fucking clue. I have no idea." What was his Cockney mother doing?
Well, do you know what she's
What was that
actually?
accent?
She was actually an Australian lady who played Edwin.
Wow.
And she got cast, and she was doing this really bandy UK accent. Well, to be fair, I'll give her her dues. It's better than like the American version of an English accent that gets done.
Ah,
So I'll give her a juice for that.
yeah.
Um, Edwin is. I wasn't sure if they were like father and uh, husband and wife, or mum and son at one point. It gave off like, in 13
Mm.
Ghosts, the
Yeah.
unhealthy mother and child, firstborn son situation. I don't know I can't remember what they were called, but
Mothers and their sons.
yeah, it gave off that kind of creepy, like, we've got to con money because we're poor. But then they didn't look too bad when he was stuffing his face with like the milk and the bananas and the cereal, and that nearly made me throw up. And I was like,
Blech.
You don't need to eat like that. I don't care who you are. This has absolutely no bearing on you being either a size 0 or a size 50. Do not eat like that. That is
Yeah.
absolutely abhorrent. It's just
Behave yourself. Well, the production on this was so, so low that they had to do some scenes with Jane in the car,
Mm,
just with a cameraman in the car filming Betty Davis. And she's one of our on one of our interviews, she says that she smiled continuously when people would clock her in her Baby Jane makeup while she's driving down Sunset Boulevard, like Beverly Boulevard.
yeah.
Yeah, it just always reminds us when The Exorcist, when they were doing The Exorcist, and they had the puppetry for Regan, the one that would spin,
Mhm.
and William Friedkin wanted a genuine reaction of people and how they would react, so they would put it in a taxi and just send it around the New York City and just set it off its motion off to where the head would spin and just see what people's genuine reaction was. Oh my god, I must remember this chair tilts back because I nearly fell there. Um, and the um, this would have been exactly the same. People like stopping in their tracks and like, what the shit is she wearing?
I know at one point he was literally tied to the front of the car to get the outside shots.
Oh my
Uh,
god.
where like he's looking through the front windscreen and she's
Hmm.
pulling around the corner. He's literally clinging on for dear life onto the front of the Lincoln Continental, and like don't know how he didn't fall off, but that's why she's smiling so much as well, because people were clocking her, and also because she thought it was hilarious that he was going to fall off. Um, but yeah, the car that she drives is a 1947 Lincoln Continental, and I
Yeah.
own a 1966 Lincoln Continental. So I was quite kind of like taken aback because the style and how different they are in like that kind of 19-year period is insane. How much they changed, and it's like they kept referring to it as a Lincoln Continental. I'm looking at it going, it's
Is
not.
it?
But then they do fuck up because they call it a 1941 or a 1940 Lincoln Continental, and it's not, it's a 47, which I know is semantics, but at the time, everybody was a car head. They all
Yeah.
knew the difference between the cars, and it was like, it was a big faux pas that they got it wrong in the movie.
Oh, it's a car to me.
Yeah, I mean, a car's a car, it gets you from A to B, doesn't it? It's just how loud it gets you there.
Yeah, it's a very, very nice car. I do like the look of them style of cars. I just could not tell you what they are. And if someone says what cars Dan got, I says I'm sure
It's
it's a
black.
cross between Dean Winchester's and the one that JFK got shot in.
It's the one that JFK gets shot in, but it's the hard top, not the
That's it.
yeah.
That's not the convertible, that's right. That is I'm sure it looks like Dean's car from Supernatural.
Yeah, it's probably about another 3 feet longer than that because it's a fucking whale. But did you see who the other people were that they were going to cast in these positions?
No.
So for Blanche, at the time they were looking at Tallulah Bankhead, Claudette Colbert, and Olivia de Havilland, and
Oh,
come up and see me sometime,
yeah.
Marlena on the Wall. Oh, Marlena Dietrich got looked at for this part of Blanche.
You've just quoted Mae
I
West
know I did. As soon as it came
and
out, my
then
mouth, I was like,
said
"That's wrong.
Marlena Dietrich.
That's wrong." As soon as it came
um,
out, I was like, "No, you really fucked that one up." But yeah, anyway, it was Marlena Dietrich. Yeah, so
yeah. Olivia de Havilland and
mhm.
who else did you say?
Tallulah Bankhead and Claudette
Tallulah
Colbert.
Bankhead. Okay,
And then
interesting.
for Baby Jane Doe,
Okay,
they
yeah.
looked at Ingrid Bergman,
Oh.
Susan Hayward, Rita
Uh,
Hayworth, Katharine Hepburn,
oh.
Jennifer Jones, and
Uh.
Ginger Rogers.
Ginger Rogers. No. Nah.
So
Never.
I think it was the
Nah.
whole tap dancing, singing, and
Get
dancing
you.
situation. I think
Yeah.
that's what we're looking
No,
at.
not Ginger Rogers. Catherine Hepburn. Maybe.
I loved Catherine Hepburn because she was a champion. I think she would have done well working with Betty because she was a woman's woman, like Betty seemed to be. She campaigned for women.
Yeah.
She was the first woman to wear
Yes,
trousers.
she was.
She, I mean, there was more people wearing trousers, but she was,
Marlena was probably in there as well.
yeah, she was one of the most famous women to start wearing trousers. And people were like, "Why are you wearing men's trousers?" And she said, "Well, they're more practical. Why would I not wear men's trousers?"
Yeah. Exactly.
And didn't something to do with Catherine Hepburn had something to do with maybe not the World Wide Web, but she had something to do with getting it to a point of where it was the
Hedy
person
Lamarr.
is heading the mile for that one. I know. Do you know what? It gets very grey for me around that era because there were so many beautiful women that looked exactly the same.
Get you. Completely get you. Um, because yes, they do. They look really similar.
Mm.
But no, it was Hedy Lamarr who was it's something to do with the internet. It's something to do with coding and the
Yeah,
internet.
the woman who invented the internet, I know, was a black lady. I've forgotten her name, but she doesn't get enough credit because everybody looked at Hedy Lamarr because she championed her to get it out there. She
Yeah.
did something for it to help her with it, but people then credited her instead of her, and it was all muddy.
Always reminds us of the IT crowd. This is the internet.
Have you tried turning it on? Off
Ah!
again.
Who else did you say there? You said another name. Ingrid Bergman.
Uh,
Uh, uh,
Ingrid Bergman, Susan Hayward, Rita Hayworth.
right, that was the one. Rita Hayworth.
Um,
Rita Hayworth, Hayworth,
Jennifer
Hayworth.
Jones and Ginger Rogers as well.
Right. Rita Hayworth, um, very famous for her role in Glinda. Put the blame on me, but Chris, what are you
Hedwig
doing?
Eva Maria Keisler is Hedy
We've
Lamarr's
we've
daughter.
got we've got our fact checker right next to us.
Hedwig. Hedwig.
Yeah.
Hedwig. Did her parents hate her? I mean, I know the musical Hedwig and the Angry Inch, but
Oh my
like
God, that's her first name, Hedwig.
Hedwig is her.
Isn't that the owl from Harry Potter?
Yes, I I didn't. Well, okay, that's a name.
It's a, how many times was she married? One, two, three, four, five, six. Four she liked a wedding.
I do know that Betty was married 4 times.
Yes. Um, Rita Hayworth, absolutely not for this role. She's far too nice. Now, Rita Hayworth is actually of Latino descent,
Hmm.
and she ended up having to completely change her look, as in like shave her hairline back and everything in order to fit into the Hollywood look.
She was very much whitewashed.
Oh my gosh, yeah, was she? Um, but Glinda, oh my goodness, wow, she's absolutely fucking breathtaking in that. But there is something to do with her death as well. She died of oh gosh, what was it? Alzheimer's. Like she had Alzheimer's disease, but it was the way that it was handled and how she was treated. Yeah, there's a lot of some stuff to go with Rita Hayworth's death that I could be making up because I could be
No, I
rolling
think
it into somebody else's.
I know you're more of Faye with like all the oldie woldy,
I
it's more.
live in the past, Dan. I live in the
Well,
past.
the thing for me is I used to have books and books on all of this kind of era. Everything from the 20s up to sort of the 60s. I used to be absolutely into how stunning all the women were and like
Oh,
Clark Gable and
beautiful.
and Casablanca and just I know it overlaps a little bit and stuff, but just how all the costuming, I used to love the costuming and I used to read into all that sort of thing. And it was never about the actual stories or the movies they made. It was just very,
Mm,
very interesting because I know, was it Catherine Hepburn that was dating the Spruce Goose guy, the man who were Howard Hughes, the tissue box
yes.
on the feet man? It was, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it was.
Yeah, because he actually funded a lot of pictures, didn't he?
He did
At one point,
when he was not coating himself in antiseptic.
and wearing tissue boxes on his feet
Yeah.
for shoes.
Yeah.
And now he just looks like Leo DiCaprio in my head because of the movie.
Never seen it. Tried to watch it, couldn't watch it. Do you know, looking at Catherine Hepburn, I wouldn't have put her in the role of Jane. I think you're right. I think she would have worked perfectly alongside of, but I think that would have completely changed the dynamic of this film. This is very campy, very cult classic,
Mm,
and it is because of them two actresses alone. You
yeah.
put Katharine Hepburn in with Betty Davis, and it completely and it becomes a classic.
I
Which is
think
not a bad thing, but it still would have lost some little spark.
because I think with this one, you're kind of predetermined to think that Joan is the victim in and out of this film because Betty
Yes.
gives off this overbearing characterization of Jane that she does. So
Mhm.
you know, as somebody who might not be able to separate real life from fiction, which a
Yeah.
lot of people can't, actors and actresses are not the characters in real life, just so you know. Um,
And don't take what Ryan Murphy says as gospel.
no, because he likes
Don't do
to
it.
make things up, as we have well known and discussed on this podcast. Um,
Multiple times.
multiple times. So in short, he can get to fuck. But yeah,
In the
it's
bin.
in the bin he goes. Wheel him away. Um, it's yeah, so you're predisposed to think that Joan is the downtrodden one outside of this, and I feel
Yeah.
like maybe when they entered this, Joan knew, but Betty wasn't 100% that this is how this was going to come out. Like I don't know if, but even though it flips on the dime at the last moment when you actually find out what happened, you should then have empathy for Jane, but you don't. You're like, well, you're still a
Mm.
piece of shit, Jane. So
Yeah.
you look at Blanche and you go, you're a huge piece of shit.
You're a massive piece of shit. Yeah.
Why did I give you any kind of level of emotion or empathy? Why
Yeah.
did I waste my time on thinking, oh, poor you?
Yeah. The first time I watched it years ago, I always remember going, "Oh, you bitch. Oh, you bitch." Ah, she would not have been hard. Because honestly, I'm not joking, that line kills me.
But
Um,
I didn't even twig because they don't show the faces in the crash sequence. I just thought they were trying to save money on the picture budget, like the way that they show.
yeah, yeah, and yeah, because you at the beginning when they're showing you the crash scene, this is where I mean the budget is very low brow, what feels it anyway.
Mm,
And maybe because later on of how good it gets or how good it looks. But this part, it leaves it very ambiguous because you don't get to see anything above the knee. So it looks like the accident was the car went into the gate and hit the person on the other side. That was Blanche.
mhm.
But in actual fact, it wasn't. Blanche was in the car and she snapped her spine when she hit the gates. Probably impossible to do,
Correct.
but Hollywood.
Yes, this was a bugbear of mine when she said, I crashed into the gates and snapped my spine. I thought, look, I know you don't have seatbelts in those kind of cars, but I mean, that's an
Also,
achievement.
love you were not going that fast.
No, you were literally going from standing to gate in a
Yeah.
matter of, I don't know,
Also,
yards, feet,
you then managed to get yourself out the car with a snap spine.
and enough time for your sister to have done a bunk, jump
Yeah.
out the way, done a bunk for 3 days, and then
Yeah.
you pull yourself out of the car, crawl to the front of the gates, and make it look like it was your sister.
Oh, I've snapped my spine.
Oh, woe is me. Like,
Whoa. Yeah.
you
Um.
absolute dollop, Blanche. I mean, what an absolute plum at the end of it, where she's just laying there and she goes, if
Oh my God. What the fuck with the
if
dry bit round the corner of her mouth?
I think what they were trying to do at this point was to show that she was giving her death
Dehydrate.
confession because she thought she was going to go at this point because
Yeah. It was just.
she'd been starved and beaten and I wouldn't say tortured because there was only that one evidence. I say that one. There was only that one bit where she kicks the shit out of her.
Oh, she
Um,
does not lay into her.
that's years of pent up aggression, though, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Uh,
I'm not justifying it. It's just that's what it
no.
was. And at that point, I think she then ties her up in the bedroom. That's when Elvira finds her, and then that's when Jane takes care of Elvira. And it's like then Victor gets really, really drunk and gets pissed off because he got Edwin because he got stood up by Jane. So then he goes running up the stairs, bursts into the house, sees Blanche, and then does a bunk. He's like, "Oh, this is too much for me. Fuck it, I'm out," and he's gone. And it's like you could have saved her. You could see there was this woman tied up to a hoist in a bedroom, and you had every opportunity to be the hero, but you ran away. So,
Yeah.
and at that point, like I said, she'd been starved for what I think was about 3 or 4 days, because you couldn't really tell a time span.
No, there was no time scale on it, really, was there?
So she'd been starved, she'd been she hadn't drunk anything, and then obviously she'd had sun exposure for being out in the what we're supposed to believe was the blistering sun, and they'd slept out on the beach all night, and like
And then hundreds of people came and sat around them and didn't bat an eyelid.
of an adult lady baby dressed
Yeah.
like that walking around
With a,
on the
with a woman just lying on the beach
in a blanket
in a blanket, fully clothed. Didn't question it at all.
with the most
Just went
beautiful
about just went.
hair you've ever seen. Yeah, it's
Oh
like
my god, I tell you what, I'll give Joan Crawford this mind. She looked fucking beautiful in this movie.
yeah,
Absolutely breathtakingly beautiful. I mean, the both in both very different ways
yeah.
looks absolutely striking.
Did you hear the rumor about the wig though? This is the one that grossed me out a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh no, I did not, but go on.
Right, you know the wig that Betty's wearing with the little curls, the Shirley Temple curls at the bottom?
Yeah.
Apparently, the story goes that it was bought from a massive lot of wigs from MGM. You know where this is going? It was one of Joan's wigs from one of Joan's earlier movies.
Fuck off.
Betty didn't find out till after they pretty much filmed the majority of the movie, and she was just like, "Why didn't anybody tell me I have this on my head? This is, do you know what I mean?" And it caused like
Oh,
World War III. But no one
that's
knows
so
if it's
funny.
true or not, or if it was a production. Like, tell her it was Jones, just so it will wind her up a bit more. Kind of like that. Heated
Let's
role.
rub this up a bit.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh wow. Well, I'm all out of Baby Jane Dow facts. Baby
Yeah, I
Jane.
mean, there's a lot. I mean, if you start going into the feud, we'd literally be here all year.
It's yeah, because then you break down the two actresses and then you really got to look at how different their lives actually are. If you want to know more about the pair as an individual or as part of this feud, please go and check out You Must Remember This podcast. It has an amazing breakdown of both ladies, probably more Joan because the Joan, for some reason, Joan's mummy dearest gets picked up more than what Betty Davis's daughter ever did to her.
Mm.
It's really Mummy Dearest has a lot of attention on it, and there's a lot of clips from Baby Jane, whatever happened to Baby Jane, um, in there as well. But you must remember this podcast; it is phenomenal. If you like your old Hollywood, um, that is it's an amazing, and Katrina, I can't remember her surname, but her voice is just it sends me to sleep sometimes because of how soothing it is. But she also did a fantastic, probably one of the best breakdowns of the Manson murders I have ever come across, because she doesn't just cover Charlie, she does every individual, every person who, and it's so well put together, and it's almost like really good storytelling as well. So yeah, must remember this podcast. That's a good one. But yeah, I'm all out of Baby Jane Dow.
That's never going anywhere, is it?
Nope. Nope. Not at all. Do you want to tell the people what we're doing next week, Dan?
Well, I've got me 1-star reviews
Oh
first.
my god, shit. Sorry, it's been a while. It has
It's
been
been
a while.
7,050.
50 years. My apologies. Okay, so 1-star reviews.
We have 1 star from, well, it's a splat because it's Rotten Tomatoes. So it's from Bosley Crowther of the New York Times, don't you know?
Eh, well,
There's nothing particularly moving or significant about these two.
fuck off.
Thanks, Bosley.
And where you from again?
The New York Times.
Well, you fucking honestly. My 4-year-old godson could have written a better review than that.
Oi. Yeah.
Jesus.
The second one is from Letterboxd and it's half a star. And it's from JWPDX. Don't ask me to pronounce that. 2 hours and 14 minutes, question mark, exclamation mark. In 1962, question mark, exclamation mark. Call me Blanche because this is torture.
okay, that was quite good. Like, I don't agree. We agree to disagree,
Yep.
but that was some good wordplay. Yes, it is a long movie, 2 hours 14, especially for the time of it is. But this is at a time, and I think me and Chris actually talked about this when we did the Maltese Falcon. Um, Storytelling is storytelling. And this is at a time where they used to really put a lot of emphasis on on the actual storytelling.
Mm.
So if it needed to take 2 hours and 14 minutes, it was going to take 2 hours and 14 minutes to do that story justice.
Yeah, there was no real big time limits from the studio saying, right, you need to cut this down to an hour and a half. We
Mm-mm.
need this because
No,
people get bored, because
no.
attention spans were better then, because this was their only source of entertainment. They didn't have handheld phones or
Yeah,
you.
exactly. Exactly. And are we still doing the 666 Degrees of Jake? Okay. Do I know what film it's connected to, or
It's,
person, or?
it's still we Who Framed Roger Rabbit. It's still
Wow. Okay.
um Maidie Norman, who played Elvira,
Yeah.
starred in 1982's Halloween 3 Season of the Witch
Whoa.
as Nurse Agnes.
Whoa. Okay.
Season of the Witch was most famous for having the next to nothing to do with Halloween franchise, but still starred the 80s Lothario Tom Atkins. Tom is a horror staple and has starred in movies like The Fog, Night of the Creeps, and the 2009 reboot of My Bloody Valentine. My Bloody Valentine starred Jamie King, Kerr Smith, and Jensen Ackles, but also starred creepy Kevin Teague, or Tighe. I'm not really sure how you pronounce that surname. It's spelled Tighe.
Okay.
It's either Teague or Tighe. And as Ben Foley. In 1988, sorry, Kevin played Sport Sullivan in Eight Men Out alongside John Cusack, Michael Rooker, Charlie Sheen, and the part of Bill Burns was played by Christopher Lloyd, who we all know as Judge Doom
Oh,
in Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Doom.
I couldn't believe my luck when I saw Maidie Norman, who played Elvira, was in Halloween 3. I was like,
That
are you kidding me?
that is golden.
That was I was like, I'm not going to go for Betty and I'm not going to go for Joan. I thought I'd just check, see who else might have something, and then I saw that. I was like, yeah, well, that's that done then, isn't it?
That is unreal. One of the most terrifying characters he's ever played is Judge Doom.
Mm.
And to talk just like that. Ugh, terrifying. Ah, let's not.
I only have to do that and people know
Yeah,
exactly what I'm doing.
yeah. Let's not. Let's not. Right, now do you want to tell the people what we're doing next week?
Yes, we are going to do something I
Huh.
think very quite different for us. Not in title. In title, this is probably the third
Oh
one.
my god, we are literally flogging a dead horse with this one, mind, with the thingy.
We are Lily Allen in our way through the divorce.
We really are.
We are going to be doing a movie called Frankenstein's Army. Now, for those of you who haven't heard of it, I completely understand why you wouldn't have heard of it, but go seek this one out and watch it. It is a sight to behold. It is technically based, I think it's World War One or World War Two. You'll have to forgive me. We ain't done it yet.
Two.
So if you like kind of like a found footagey, but not really, kind of first person view kind of movie with experiments and all sorts of weird shit, this is the movie that you want to watch. So watch it before we review it next week and tell us what you think down below for sure.
And if you have seen Whatever Happened to Baby JJ, let us know in the comments. Let us know what you think of the two actresses. Let us know, were you Team Blanche or Team Baby Jane Doe? I will stop doing that. There'll be
I'm Team
absolutely no
Elvira. I felt sorry for her. So
Yeah, me too. But she got killed by a hammer. So, of course I'm gonna feel sorry for the lady who got hit by a hammer.
is that
But
what
I'm still Team Baby Jane. Just because Betty Davis is so unhinged in this movie, it's absolutely phenomenal to watch. Right, let's see if I can do this. So this has been Whatever Happened to Baby JJ, and next week is Frankenstein's Army. We go out every Monday over on the Nerdy Up North YouTube channel, 10 o'clock. audio for that episode will be available on the same day. You can find us from anywhere you get your podcasts from. The links for Bleeding Marvelous, Monsters Up North, Nutty Up North are where, Dan?
They're down there.
Oh, are there splatter?
They're my Dexter nails.
Oh, I like.
Well, technically for the Scream premiere when I went and did that, so we did some Scream, some blood splat, and
Bet you wish you didn't have to see it.
I do. I regret everything about watching Scream 7. Please see my review. Thank you.
I'm not going to tell you what I think until way later down the line, and then I'll
Oh.
let leash. That it?
It is.
Oh my goodness, okay. Well, I'm back! And I'll see you all next week. So, if there's nothing else left to say goodbye, Dan.
Then you mean all this time we could have been friends?
Bye! Stay spooky, everyone. Bye!